a cyclist of renown, a great lawyer, and he's someone, if you want to see him again, is frequently a speaker in the short programs that NCDC puts on. Most of all, he's a nice guy. David?
Dying men don't lie, but desperate men deceive. And you and I doubt what we know is true when no matter what we do, we're not believed. I've been talking to Benjamin and Robert a little bit outside the courtroom. And Benjamin really likes the band U2. And I thought a little bit of a song might be appropriate for what we're going to deal with today. Just a snippet. One man walks down an empty street. Three men he resists. One man says in his dying breath, and one man betrayed with a kiss. You know, U2's song is about the betrayal of Jesus, right? What is it about? It's about the opportunist Judas who goes and talks to the Sanhedrin because they want to get Jesus. He doesn't have anything to say against Jesus. All he has is knowledge of where he's at. So what does he do? He wants 30 pieces of silver. He wants 30 pieces of silver to lead the Sanhedrin to Jesus. So what does he do? He gets his 30 pieces of silver and he goes to Jesus and he gives him a kiss. And now the Sanhedrin knows that's the guy. And they arrest him and they take him in front of Pilate. And when they take him in front of Pilate, what happens in front of Pilate? Pontius Pilate stands up there and says, look, I have a decision to make. There's this drug dealer, this thief, this murderer named Barabbas. I can release him, or there's this guy Jesus. Which would you choose? And Pontius Pilate hears the crowd. Barabbas, Barabbas, Barabbas. Okay, Barabbas. And then the crowd starts chanting, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. And in that moment, Pontius Pilate says what? Why? What crime has he committed? But there's no response because the crowd, the din of the crowd is, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him. I want to ask you, can we calm the din of the crowd to get our man? Can we calm the din of the crowd to make the streets safe again? To make somebody responsible for this so that we can answer that still small question. Why? What did he do? As I've sat here through this trial, I have to tell you, talking to Robert and Benjamin, and realizing they and Mrs. Hussers had to sit here and relive the death of John Hussers. I don't want to do anything that would not honor John Hussers. I can't imagine what it must be like to sit there and relive over and over again what's happened. But his spirit is in the room. At least we hear John Hussers' voice on 911. At least you get to hear your dad again. So what happened? John Hussers is a brave man. He's just walking along, and three men approach him. They back him behind a wall, and they shoot him. And then he's down. But he's got the wherewithal to get his cell phone out and call 911. Help me. I've been shot. Three white men shot me. Help me. And then Officer Garvin gets on the scene. What does he do? He gets down to John. And he tries to stop the bleeding. Puts his hand on his stomach and asks him, can you talk? And John says, yes, I can talk. Who did this to you? Who did this to you? 3 white men. 3 white men came along and robbed me. The one who shot me, he had on a black hoodie and dark blue jeans. And 2 others, they had white t-shirts on. And then he gets quiet. And Officer Garvin stops. And he gets his notepad. And he writes down exactly what he was told. Woo! Woo! And then the ambulance arrives. And the EMTs come. And they get the bed down. And they help John up on the bed. And they click the thing. And they roll him into the ambulance. And as he's lying in the ambulance, there's 3 white men. And he dies. Dying men don't lie. The spirit of John Hussars is alive in this room. So let's honor the spirit of John Hussars, these 2 boys. And let's not sacrifice the living for 30 pieces of silver. So who are we listening to? Well, let's talk about these characters that we find so amazing, so fun for us. Blood, right? You remember Blood? Blood. He's sitting on the park bench. Yeah, biding his time in a horrible economy. Got no job. Got no prospects of a job. He's just hanging out at the park. It just so happens that 2 days after when he watches the TV and sees that their man was killed in Grant Park, what does he do? I'm a desperate man because I got no money. I got no means. I just sit at the park. I'm going to call up D. Martinez. That's what I'm going to do. Yo, D. Martinez. Yeah. Hey, man, listen. I might have some shit on that killing on Grant Park. Yeah. You gonna come meet with me? All right, that's great. All right. Yeah, man, thanks. All right, thanks. And so what does D. Martinez do? D. Martinez drives over, meets up with Blood. Meets up with Blood. Hey man, you know, I saw this dude, he came up, you know, I knew him from a while ago, man. His name Benito. He came up to me, man, he was all, you know, that shooting, he came up to me, he was all like out of breath and stuff, and he was telling me how he shot these guys and how he did it all by himself, and you know, it was clear to me that he did it. I mean, I could tell he was scared and shit, it was wild. And you know what he was wearing? Yeah, he was wearing a white t-shirt, and he was wearing cargo pants. But they were shorts, you know, cargo shorts, you know what I'm talking about? You know, those kind of like break right about here, you know, and have them pockets on the side. So what did John Hussars tell us? This is where we start, right? John Hussars, we already saw him today. His spirit's in the room. It was a white guy that shot me, 3 white guys, they robbed me, and I gave them my wallet, is what he said. They shot me. 1 shot. It was a semi-automatic gun. The person who did it was wearing a dark hoodie, blue jeans, and running shoes. What did he tell the EMT? White guy, 3 white guys, robbed me. He gave them their wallet. What did he tell Officer Garvin? What did he tell the 911 call? 3 white guys. Robbed me. Dark hoodie, blue jeans, running shoes. So it looked pretty funny, wouldn't it? wearing cargo pants on top of jeans. You think you'd probably figure that out, right? No one said anything about the fact that, oh yeah, Benito changed his clothes, got rid of something, nothing, right? So, the first witness you have, supposedly, tells you he met up with my client, Mr. Benito, in the park, and he was wearing something that didn't even match what the spirit of John Husser's told us. So what else? Oh, did I forget to tell you this? Hey man, you know, can I have some money? I mean, you know, you're normally paying me for this, and I'm just wondering, can I have some money? Yeah, sure. D. Martinez gives him $150. Now, to you and I, that might not seem like a lot of money. But to a guy with no job who's living on the park bench, that helps out. Now, do I get more if I get more information? If I give you more information, I get more? Because you know what? I may know something about this too. I may be able to talk to my boy Otero. You know, Maniac's what I call him. Maniac's going to be able to help you out too, I think. Okay, well, let me know. So, you got Mr. Morales in desperation of money. Knows he's going to get some cash. Knows that D. Martinez is in a spot because he's trying to solve the crime. And so what happens? He calls up D. Martinez, right? Yo, D. Martinez, man, hey, I got a hold of Otero, yeah. He coming over right now. Why don't you come on over too? Okay, cool. All right, so. Now we've got a threesome. Now, I'm imagining they're not all sitting down. They're probably walking around. Probably can't sit down, right? Because they're, you know, jonesing or fiending or whatever you do when you're smoking crack or whatever. And so, you know, Maniac's just, he's there. Maniac's like, yo, yeah, I know Benito. Yeah, he and I went to school together. He's a, you know, he's a weenie. He's kind of pussy, you know. Latin Kings don't like him at all. They think he's a, you know, loaded junk. But, hey, I think I can help you find him. I'm sure I can. But, you know, before that, I got this case, you know, this case for drug possession, for drug dealing, and I'm wondering, you know, I could do some serious time on that. Can you do something for me on that one? Can you call like the attorney or something like that, see what I can get? Because I'd like to get dismissed. If you get it dismissed, that'd be great. This is a desperate man. Look, this is a man who is trying to get something from Detective D. Martinez before he ever gives him any information. And what does D. Martinez do? Calls the DA for him before he ever gets anything. If you're a desperate man knowing you're going to jail, then what's going to happen? You're going to do whatever you need to do not to go to jail, aren't you? We talked about that in his cross-examination. You don't want to go back to jail. He knows what that's like. So what happens? What does Maniac do? You know what? Goddamn coincidence. He just happens to be hanging out the next day at the Citgo gas station, and supposedly Mr. Benito comes in and buys himself a blunt. And then Mr. Maniac says, hey, what's happening? And just by coincidence, Mr. Benito tells him, hey, you know that murder you saw? That's me, but don't snitch on me. Because that's a real smart thing to tell somebody. Hey, that's me. I admit it, but don't tell anybody. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But does he give him any details? No. So, let's go back to our chart. Tells D. Martinez, he doesn't say anything about olive skin, does he? Look at that. Both these guys are talking about Benito, who's olive skin. And yet, clearly, white guy. 3 white guys? You know what? Doesn't tell him anything about that. You heard his statement. Nobody even asked, who are the other 2 guys? There's only one witness in this case that you heard from who says anything about seeing 3 white guys, and that was Frederick Whitman, and we had to call him. We called him because the state don't care about that. They got their man already. So, what does D. Martinez, what does Otero tell him? That it was about drugs. It was about crack. Took his wallet from his back pocket, according to Morales. He acted like he had no money. Never said anything about taking anything. Argue over crack, he shot him, fight over the gun. All those things are nothing like what the Spirit of John Husser's tells us. So what do we got? We got 2 desperate guys who are looking for a way out. One needs to keep out of jail. The other one, he needs money. What does Maniac do? Maniac also wants part of that $10,000 reward. So now we got one meeting. I want to get my jail terms taken care of. Then we got meeting number 2, where he finds out from D. Martinez, all he's going to do is maybe get probation. No, man, I want that shit dismissed. I want it dismissed. And so, what does he ask D. Martinez to do? Call. Hey, what about that reward? What about that $10,000 reward? So that's what we got. 2 desperate men to who I call the Judas group. Opportunists, looking for 30 pieces of silver. They don't care who or what happens, they just want to get their stuff. So cash to maintain why, get out of jail free card, $10,000 reward, all pretty important stuff. And guess what? Beane Martinez, he got a bird in the hand, right? Because the din of the crowd is saying, solve this crime, solve this crime, solve this crime. Make somebody pay, make somebody pay. So Beane Martinez, he's overworked, he's tired, he's trying, but he's got no leads. That's the only lead he's got, and right now he's got a bird in the hand. So what's he going to do with that bird in the hand? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about this. Let's see, waterboarding or 11-hour interrogation? One of these is not torture, according to Dick Cheney. Go to the next one. So let this game show begin. All right. Now, we're going to play a game show today. You understand? Am I too close to you yet? We're going to play a game show. It's called Guess the Right Answer. Okay? Now, I'll tell you some of the rules. Some of the rules are, number one, you can't move. You understand that? And rule number two is, you're going to hear me just smell my breath all day. You're going to have me spit on you. I'm going to get real close to you, yell at you. Sometimes I'm going to get real soft. But I'm going to tell you stuff. You understand? But okay, you got to answer the questions. Okay? Because when I ask you questions, I expect you to answer. But the goal is, as I ask you questions, you need to make sure you give me the correct answer. Do you know what I mean? Okay, now, here's the deal with this game. It's kind of a fun game. The fun part of this game is you can't go anywhere until you give me the correct answer. Do you understand? All right, now, there's a difference between the right answer and the correct answer. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, and we may take some breaks so you can get some Coke. I don't mean cocaine like Coca-Cola. Or we may take some breaks and go to the bathroom, but I'll decide when that happens. You understand? Okay, so just as long as you know this is a fun game, all you have to do is guess the right answer. You understand? Okay, good. So let's set up the rules a little bit. Now, first of all, you're in a kind of a soundproof booth here, so no one else can hear what we're talking about except if someone watching on video. But this isn't going out to the TV world, all right? So here's what I need to do. I need to take a break for just a second because I need to explain to the audience what the rules are, okay? All right, all right. All right, so here are the rules. See, I can tell them shit that's not true, and it doesn't matter. And I can tell him, I can make him feel good about himself, talk about the fact this may be an accident. I can talk about the fact we got DNA. I can talk about the fact that we got his fingerprints, we got him on video. I can tell him all those things, and he doesn't know they're not true. Okay? I just want you to know that. So when I say stuff like that, don't get mad at me for lying to him. All right? All right. All right, we're back. Are you ready? Okay, now, let's see. August 10th. You were in Grant Park, right? You were in Grant Park, and you were looking to rob somebody, weren't you? Okay, and as you're looking to rob somebody, no, you want to shut up. No, this is the first hour. You're supposed to say no. You're supposed to say no because this is the first hour, so you're going to deny everything. I didn't prep you as my witness, sorry. Okay, so here's the deal. Didn't you go to Grant Park that day and kill John Hussers? Say, no, I didn't. Okay, where were you? All right, good. Sorry, I didn't prep you as a witness. I should have. Okay, so you don't know and you didn't go. Well, okay, this is hour one. Go to the next slide, would you please? Go to the next slide. The next one. This is great. I wish I had a clicker. Okay, so this is hour one, and I just asked you a series of questions. We've been here an hour now, and so far you haven't got any right answers. And I was in Streeter. That's the wrong answer. Okay, you got. When I say that, you got. There you go. Okay, go to the next hour. Okay, so we'll go to the next. Okay, there we go. No. Oh well, that's okay. So that's okay. Second hour. Wrong answer. Go to the next one. That's fine. Okay, now, I know we're in a third hour. Are you hot? Yeah, you need to act like you're a little tired, because I'm sure you're sick of smelling my breath and having me yell at you and all that stuff, and you're smiling way too much, because I'm sure after 3 hours of interrogation, you're going to be broke down, don't you think? Don't you agree? Yeah. Well, you're easy to talk to. Okay, so now we're in the third hour of interrogation. Are you still telling me that stuff that you don't believe, or you didn't do anything to John Hussers? Yes. You didn't kill him? No. Man, well, that's not what we heard. Here's what we heard. We heard that that's not true. We got some video. We got video, we got DNA, we got all kinds of stuff. Well, wait a minute, you're supposed to play along here. But we can because we do. Let's see, we got eyewitnesses, we know you were in Grant Park, we got all kinds of evidence. This is hour number 3. See, look, you've been here since 11 o'clock tonight. You understand that? And you still haven't gone anywhere. You know what the grand prize is? The grand prize is you get a home away from home. You get your brand new home away from home. Okay, so from what I can tell, you're saying you don't know how many times you can tell me that you didn't do this, you had nothing to do with it, and that you don't know nothing else about this man, that you were in Streeter. Is that what you're saying? Yes. That's the wrong answer. Okay, go to the next.
we all getting hot yet? Is this hot in here? Go to the next one. Oh, man, that's all right. It sucks. Go to the next one. All right, so we're in hour 6 of interrogation, and you really got to be down in the chair because we're all tired at this point, aren't we? We're exhausted, but you ain't getting out of that chair until you give me the correct answers. You understand? Yeah. Okay. So, you know Blood, don't you? Yeah. You know Maniac. Yeah. You know those guys. Yeah, they're witnesses. They're witnesses who already told us what you told them. No, you didn't tell me anything? That's the wrong answer. Here you go to the next one. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Finally, after 7 hours of interrogation, and after we've denied and told you that nothing you believe is true, now you're starting to answer the right questions. Okay, so let me ask you again. Was this part of the Latin Kings?
Yes.
Okay. And were you selling rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you weren't just robbing, you were selling rock, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you were behind a little wall, right? Even though that's not what you said a minute ago, that's the right answer, isn't it? I mean, the correct answer? Okay, good. Because see, now, according to my little cue cards here, you are finally catching on. You are on your way to the grand prize. Go to the next one. Now, you said you took his wallet and ran after him, but that's not true, is it? Because that doesn't match the physical evidence. So what do you think the correct answer is? Give a guess. Just guess.
Didn't take his wallet?
No, that's not right. Give me another one.
I took his wallet.
Yeah, he took his wallet.
And I ran.
No.
I stayed there.
Okay. And did he run after you?
No.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Good job. All right. He took the wallet and he went away, but he didn't run after him. So now you're on a real roll. Go to the next one. Okay, now, do you know what kind of gun you used?
It was 9 million.
No, close. Try another one.
22.
No, try another one.
38.
No. What's the other one? Come on, you can get it. We can't tell you everything. You got to come up with some things on your own. What do you got?
32.
Okay, that's the right answer. All right, good. Go to the next one. See, are you tired of this game yet? Isn't this a fun game? It's only going to last about another 2 hours. All right, so go to the next one. So you, after all the things you told us about the Latin Kings, about the fact that you didn't really just rob him, you were also selling crack cocaine, about the fact that you used a 32, about the fact that after you shot him, you took his wallet, and then you took his wallet and threw it in a garbage can, and then you told us that you got the gun you used, you threw it in the lake, but not really because you threw it in the sewer. You know, after you got all these correct, now you get the grand prize. Good job, Mr. Benito. Now we're going to take you downtown, and you get a new home away from home. Are you excited about that?
No.
I'm sure you're tired. Now, the thing that I know is that I know you want to go home, and that's what you've been saying for the last 11 hours. And so you're going to have to go to your new home away from home. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, does that sound crazy? But that's the game show, right? That's how it's done. Let's berate the person, or build them up, or give them false evidence until, despite what we know to be true, if no matter what we know we're not believed, we begin to doubt. Here's what we heard from the false confession expert. Why would an innocent person confess guilt? False confessions are an escape hatch. Most common explanation is, suspect just wanted to go home. Everybody has a breaking point of a time. It's not just an hour. No matter who we are, we'll break. We'll break at some point. The police level of overconfidence of initial guilt can unintentionally elicit a false confession. I'm not saying that McMurray was a bad guy. I'm just saying that he believed so strongly that Mr. Benito was guilty that he went towards guilty and continued to talk to him for 11 hours until he got him to say what he wanted him to say, the correct answer. And vulnerable people like Mr. Benito, who we know has no mother, she passed away. Father, all his siblings, shipped out to Mexico. And so Mr. Benito, by himself, learning disabled, in an interrogation room for 11 hours, he begins to doubt what he knows true. Go to the next one. So let's take a look at this chart one last time. White guy, the only eyewitness, white guy. Frederick Whitman, white guy. These two guys are singing Olive Skin. During the first 5 hours, Mr. Benito said what? He was never asked about the three white guys, never asked if there was anybody else. He kept saying, I didn't do it, I was in Streeter, I was in Streeter, I was in Streeter. He was never asked what he was wearing, never asked what he was wearing, never asked what he was wearing. But when he started to be successful at the game show, then he started, even though he still had olive skin because he couldn't change that, he was never asked about the 3 white guys. Then it was just Rob, no, it was crack. I am sorry to you, Robert and Benjamin, that you have to hear the state talk about your dad buying crack on the street. Because there's no evidence of that. And yet, that's how they're making their case. 1 shot, maybe 2. 22, 9mm, 32. Our guy just doesn't have any idea. Why would he not have any idea? Because he didn't do it. He was never asked about the dark hoodie, never asked about blue jeans, never asked about running shoes. The spirit of John Husser's is in this room. And I put this up here for a while because I want you to write it down. I want you to think about the fact that dying men don't lie. But desperate men deceive. The maniac in blood, they have nothing that supports what happened. Nothing except what they want. The Judas group. But we will doubt in what we know is true when no matter what we do, we're not believed. And that's what the expert told us. So for Mr. Beane's sake, and for the sake of Robert, Benjamin, and Mrs. Husser's, honor the spirit of John Husser.